Well, good morning. Praise the name of the Lord. Another wonderful day to hear the word of God. I'd like to thank you for taking the opportunity every single day to be able to spend time with me as you hear the word of God come through to you through this daily dose. I believe that it is a blessing to you, and I'd like to encourage you to share it with other believers. Share it with other people. Let them also be blessed as you're being blessed. Today, I'd like to be able to share with you from Ephesians chapter number 6, verses 1 through verses 3. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1 through verses 3, and it says this: Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother, which is the first commandment with the promise, that it may be well with you and you may live long on earth. So here we have Paul speaking to children and also speaking to parents. For he's saying, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. So in other words, parents, you need to be instructing your children so that they can obey you. If you don't instruct your children, then they will not obey you. Don't cause your children to be in anger, cause your children to walk in love. And while you're directing them in a way of love, guess what? Now Paul is talking to the children and is telling them that children, obey your parents in the Lord. In other words, it is right before the Lord for you as a child to obey your parents. And you know, a child is not only someone who is still going to school. Even you as an adult, you're still a child. I am still a child to my parents. And so we are being told, you children, my parents will always call me their child. And therefore, even I am a child before my parents. And therefore, I'm being reminded by Paul that I ought to obey my parents in the Lord, for this is right. It does not say that when they are nice to you, then you obey them. Say that, no, you obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. It is right before the Lord, and it is right for you as a child to obey your parents. Why? He goes on to say this. Not only do you need to obey them, because obedience is different from honor. Obedience is when you're living with them and you're with them, they ask you to do something, you obey what they ask you to do. Honoring them is honoring them for who they are, honoring them as your parents. Whether you're living with them or not, it says honor your father and your mother. Why? Because your father and your mother, those are positions that were created with God, and then now they are stepping into those positions. So you're being told to respect the position of your father and respect the position of your mother. Why do we need to respect the position of a father and the position of a mother? Because they are positions of authority, and through those positions of authority, God has instituted a blessing to come to us as children. It goes on to say this: honor your father and your mother, which is the first commandment with promise. In other words, God says, you as a child, you have a first commandment, and that first commandment is to honor your father, honor your mother, and it has a promise. What is the promise? The promise is this: that it may be well with you and that you may live long on earth. In other words, your welfare or your well-being and your health and life on earth is dependent on your honor of the office of your father and the office of your mother. Many people today, their lack of honor is costing them their health, is costing them their well-being, because they are not honoring the offices of their parents. They are not honoring the office of the mother and the office of the father. The Bible tells us very well that if you honor your father and you honor your mother, you are fulfilling that commandment, and you're going to be a recipient of the promise, which is it's going to be well with you and you're going to live long on earth. A lot of people today are trying to get educated so that they can do better. But the more educated they try to be, the more frustrated they become. Why? Because you have forgotten the first commandment of honoring your father and honoring your mother. Any moment you do not honor them, you do not respect them, you do not value their positions as your parents, you have already caused an issue in your own life. Therefore, correct your life by honoring your father and honoring your mother, and it will go well with you on earth, and you are going to live a long life. How does this happen? Remember, they are standing in positions or in offices that were instituted by God. And while they're standing in those offices, every word they speak will either be a blessing to you or it will be a cursing to you. A blessing is an empowerment that will cause you to prosper. A curse is anything that hinders you from going forth. Therefore, when you honor those offices, something will happen. You will be able to be empowered by the words that they speak, because that is what God has ordained and destined. So I'd like to encourage you today. Remember to honor your father and your mother, so that you may be able to receive the promise that comes with that commandment. Live long, live well. Stay blessed and have a wonderful day.